Robby Anderson wants to come back to the Jets, allegedly. Let's talk about it. Hey, what's going on? I'm Matt O'Leary, back with another video, and today I'm talking about the rumor that Robby Anderson's interested in coming back to the New York Jets. Now, before we get started, just wanted to mention you can follow on social media at Matt O'Leary NY. If you haven't already, please make sure to subscribe to the Just Jets podcast. Episodes come out every single Monday. You can subscribe to the Just Jets Clips channel. All that fun stuff. Really appreciate it. So DJ Bieniemy of the New York Daily News put out this information where he said he had a source that said that Robby Anderson's interested in coming back to the Jets because there's some unfinished business in New York and that he likes the progression of Zach Wilson and all that fun stuff. So that begs the question, do the Jets do it? Are they interested in bringing Robby Anderson back? And it's a little bit complicated because, well, he has 2 years remaining at roughly $10 million against the cap. To me, if you do bring Robby Anderson back, that's not something that would preclude you from going out and drafting someone in the first round with pick 10, whether it's Garrett Wilson or Traylon Burks or whatever. That would probably be instead of bringing Braxton Berrios back. So that to me is the discussion here. And ironically, like, the two receivers could not be any more different. They're just not the same style of receiver. Braxton Berrios is more of a slot, good route runner, short-handed guy who you're going to bring over the middle, where Robby is someone who's going to play on the outside and be your deep threat. Now, price is going to come into play here because Robby Anderson's obviously going to get, or has a $10 million contract where Braxton Berrios is a free agent. We've seen numbers all over the place. $5 million probably seems about right for where I would be. And if that's the case, then yeah, bringing Braxton Berrios back for $5 million, which is half of what Robby would be getting, makes sense. But if that number is closer to $9 million, then the conversation's a little bit different. And like I said, they're different kinds of receivers because Robby's more of an outside threat and a burner down the field. And while Zach Wilson does have really good chemistry with Braxton Berrios, and we know that Braxton fits in the system, Robby would bring something that the Jets don't have, which is a burner, a deep threat. They don't. Corey Davis is not that. Elijah Moore, in my eyes, isn't that, and that's not a knock. It's just stylistically how they play. Braxton Berrios clearly isn't that, and if they were to draft Traylon Burks or Garrett Wilson, they're not necessarily that either. So while I don't necessarily think that this is likely, that there's a reunion in place, I will say that Robby would add an element that they don't currently have. So I'm not so quick to poo-poo it. I'm not saying that I'm 100% for it. I think it's an interesting conversation. And I just don't necessarily understand the revisionist history with Robby, or maybe just the focal point on this last year. Because, yeah, 2021 was a really tough year for Robby Anderson. He still finished with over 500 yards and 5 touchdowns, though. He went over 700 yards in his career 4 times. He went over 900 yards once, well, twice, technically, and 1,000 yards once. Braxton's never come close to that. And again, they play different positions, so it really is dependent on what Mike LaFleur wants to do with his offense. If he wants another guy who's going to be underneath and take care of the underneath stuff, great. Okay, you'd probably rather allocate that money to Braxton Berrios. I get that. If you want someone who's going to be able to stretch the field, then you probably go with Robby. And again, it comes back to the money. The money is a huge factor here. If they could restructure, maybe that makes things a little bit interesting, but I just wouldn't be so quick to shoot it down. And again, this is probably not going to happen here. It's probably just, a rumor where I don't necessarily see the Jets doing it, but I just don't necessarily think that Jets fans should be so dismissive of the idea when the Jets don't necessarily have someone who could fill the role that Robby does. I mean, Elijah Moore or if they were to draft Garrett Wilson, that's kind of more of the underneath stuff and would take care of what Braxton Berrios does in this offense. Now, if you want to argue the special teams side, then okay, that's a conversation that is valid because Robby's not going to be a punt returner or a kick returner. And if you say I'd rather pay, Berrios the money because of what he can give you on special teams, then okay, I also see that side of it too. And I think that's a good argument to make here because it's absolutely plays a factor in this. But I just don't think we should be so quick to say, absolutely not. I would not bring Robby Anderson back in a second and like not pretend that he's been the more productive receiver in his career. Again, if you want to go skill set and argue skill set wise or scheme fit wise that Braxton's better, okay, yeah, I see that. That makes sense. But if you're going to 100% say that Braxton's the better player based on what he's already shown in his career, I also don't think that's true. I think that Robby has been because he's been the more productive player over the course of his career. So it depends on what stylistically the Jets are looking to do. If they're looking for the deeper threat guy, someone who could open up the defense a little bit and create space for some other players, the Elijah Moores, Corey Davis, whatever wide receiver you draft, whatever tight ends you figure out, then okay, that's your answer. But if you just want the guys who are going to go over the middle, do the jet sweep kind of stuff, then Braxton's your guy. Good news, Jet fans. I have exclusive content for you at patreon.com/MattO'LearyNY. A $5 subscription gets you a ton of new content that's only available to subscribers. For instance, you have the player cards available from the 2021 season. They will update during the 2022 season to keep track of player progress. I will also do player write-ups on the NFL draft and on free agency, including those cards, and during the season as well. And with these cards, I could do so much more data visualization that will be exclusive only to you. Secondly, why should you subscribe? You're already getting the player cards, which is a bonus. You're also getting the write-ups, which is good. But the first 100 subscribers will be entered to win a jersey giveaway. Pick a Jets jersey of your choice, and I will ship it to you. No extra charge, nothing like that. So subscribe today, patreon.com/MattO'LearyNY, and get yourself some bonus New York Jets content. That was just a really long way of me saying that I don't think it's something that's going to happen, but I don't think it's something that should be automatically dismissed. Again, I think in the most likely scenario here, Braxton would come back at around $5 or $6 million. I don't want to see the number go up over 7 million because I think that gets a little bit crazy for Braxton Berrios and what he's brings for you. But it's definitely interesting. For nostalgic reasons, really like Robby Anderson a lot too. He was a fun Jet, and maybe we're just better off leaving that in the past. But it's hard not to say, that would be kind of cool to have Robby Anderson back on the field. Give him his number 11 back too. Screw Denzel Mims. That's gonna do it for me on this video. Would you do it? Would you bring back Robby Anderson? I'm not sold on it, but I think it's interesting and worthy of a conversation. Get at me on social media or in the comments below. Subscribe here if you're new, and I'll talk to you next time.